So I guess maybe because I'm also a creative guy, I started in a very similar place to Matt, although I also have no recommendations for how to reinvent the internet, so this may seem especially lackluster. But we'll go for it anyways because it's over pretty soon. So the question that we were asked to address today was how can we reinvent the internet to make it a more effective space for advertising? And I wanted to take a look at that question from the viewpoint of another industry. How can we reinvent the internet for record labels? Well, we know how the reinvention of the internet for record labels went. It rings a little differently when you're looking at somebody else's industry. It's the very idea of reinventing the internet is ludicrous. It doesn't require any reinvention. It's not broken. As we look at Chocolate Rain and its 37 million views. We hear lots of people complaining about advertising, but we never hear anybody complaining about the internet. When was the last time you heard anybody complaining about it? It's just working, and it's working in all different ways. And no industry really is capable of reinventing the internet whatsoever for their own purposes. What the internet does is forces you to adapt or you fail. And advertising has been forever about influencing culture and shaping opinion. But the truth we're facing is no different than the truth facing the record labels or the studios or the print publishers. We don't get to change the internet. All we can do is make a choice to evolve or get out of the way for somebody else. So the real question we need to ask is not how can we reinvent the internet for advertising? Thank you, Matt. But how do we reinvent advertising on the internet? Maybe this is a theme. It's an emerging theme. Mine's not as pixelated. I get credit for that.
But copy, design.
Yeah,
see?
That's right. So just at the risk of being pedantic, advertising is helping our clients gain customers, build relationships, complete transactions. Advertising is the business of growing businesses. And until fairly recently, the best way to grow businesses was based on reach and frequency and impressions. Reach as many people as you can, as often as you can, relying on really frequent, repetitive bursts of tiny little pieces of communication. And the internet has really disrupted that equation tremendously. It doesn't work anymore like this. So we've still, in addressing these things, we've spent a lot of time, I imagine everybody here has spent a lot of time talking about how the consumer is in control or there's no more captive audience. And the problem with those is that they've become cliches already and we're not actually thinking about what they mean. And what they really mean is that we're experiencing a shift of abundance and scarcity. We used to have limited spaces to communicate in, only so much room in the columns of a newspaper, only so many 30-second spots on primetime TV with only 3 networks. And we have to craft messages that got a lot of attention, got it quickly, and stuck in people's minds. And we became experts at that. We became experts at capturing attention. But we've gone from scarcity to abundance. And the internet allows for an endless supply of channels, of ways to reach people. And abundance sounds really optimistic, and in a lot of ways it is. But with so many channels of communication, attention is scarcer than it's ever been, so it's flip-flopped completely. And the most important point here that we're all facing has been touched on a little bit already. We're no longer competing with other advertisers and brands. We're competing with everything else on the internet. All of the content, the services, the social spaces, and the more time people spend online and the more they move their lives online, the more we're competing with their entire lives. And that, very clearly, takes us out of the equation. We're going to lose that battle. And if we keep on yelling louder and louder, all we're going to do is piss people off. So the change we need to make, that's my favorite slide ever. The change we need to make doesn't just happen by pushing out ads through Twitter or sending announcements through Facebook fan pages or starting blogs to promote ourselves. And it also doesn't happen by treating every new site and platform and trend as an additional silo to be filled on a planning checklist or a media budget. We actually just got an RFP from a very major brand, and in the bullet list of requirements was a one-word bullet. which, that was a requirement. This is obviously not the right way to approach things. So we don't need new channels for reaching the audience. We have an endless supply and more emerging every day, and chasing channels is just a distraction from the harder truth, which is we need to stop capturing attention and start earning it. And that demands a new approach centered on, of all things, respect. If we want to gain respect from consumers, we have to admit that their time and their attention are limited. We have to respect them and not waste their time with messaging that has value to us but not to them. We have to do that by creating a meaningful value exchange. We want time and attention and consideration. What are we going to offer in return? The key principle of value exchange has to drive the reinvention of the internet. We've got to remind ourselves that consumers don't care about our brands as much as we do. They never, ever will. And there's a simple reason for that. There's no value exchange in that. 7-Up may like you, but you don't really like 7-Up. I mean, you may like 7-Up, but you don't like the messaging. We ask for their time, and all we're giving them is taglines and brand messages, and those don't have any inherent value of their own. So we're not earning the attention we're looking for. And we have to stop asking the question, how can I make you care about my brand, or how do I make ads that people love again, and start saying, what do you care about, and how can my brand make it better? Another big aside. Even our emphasis on simplicity should be rethought. We can't fit much value into a tagline. People really do want complexity. They want richness. They want depth. They want humor. They want tension. They want drama. Sometimes they just want some help. When we share things with our friends, it's not because we like the brands, it's because we like our friends. And more importantly, it's not because what we're sharing is funny, it's because those things give us a chance to make our friends laugh. That's a really important distinction that isn't made very often. So earning respect is really hard to do. I don't have any answers for it at all, so I'm not really offering anything up today. All I know is how we're doing it at Big Spaceship, which is focusing on culture, our internal culture, and how we can turn that to the larger culture on behalf of our clients. But I do know that we'll never get the right answer from asking the wrong question. Thanks.
I think that one of the things that really struck me as I listened to that is that how much the real world and the advertising world are not in sync, and how much that we can say things like this out in the world and have people go, well, yeah. But if you say it in a boardroom on Madison Avenue, it's like debated. It's astonishment. It's wow, really. There is we work hard and we spend a lot of time at what we do. Maybe that's the reason why we're not plugged in. But I have to say that just that statement, even without a prescription attached to it, is a major fucking step in a lot of the routes that I move through. So.